Hello and welcome to the Advocator. My name is Demetrius Parson and I am the host of this show for today. And on today's subject, we're going to be highlighting fathers who are single and head of household. So we're going to take a moment and we'll be right back, so don't touch that dial.
You did great on that test, son. I'm real proud of you.
Encourage them. Get them to graduate. Don't drop out on your kids.
Great, and welcome back. Once again, this is the Advocator, and my name is Demetrius Parson. I am the host of the show, but before we get started, we want our dads here to introduce themselves and let us know what organization you belong to. We'll start at the far end.
Yes, hello, I am Terrence Jeter. I'm a father of two, a girl and a boy.
Yes, hello, my name is Henry Hunter, Master Barber at L's Unisex, father of two boys, 7 and 9.
Dwayne Ferguson, President and CEO of Mad Dads of Greater Buffalo, and Vice President of National Mad Dads.
Pastor Jeffrey Bowens. I'm a father of three, 2 girls and 1 boy.
Well, thank you for that introduction. And we want to start our discussion by asking, do we think that society sympathizes more with single mothers than they do fathers? And the discussion will start now.
Yes, I think society do sympathize more with mothers than they do fathers, but we have some great fathers that's right here that are single fathers that are really doing a great job with their children, and I just want to congratulate them, these young men here that we have on stage. And I just think society does pay a lot more attention to females than they do to males, but now I see in the city of Buffalo, I do see a lot of young men with their sons and daughters carrying them, actually going back and forth to school with them and trying to get custody of them. So I see that as a great opportunity that is happening here in the city of Buffalo.
I concur and I agree with that. I guess I would say that perhaps the reason why we are more sympathetic towards mothers or women, single women, is because they have always done it. But perhaps we have a new breed that's coming up that's concerned, as these 2 young men are, about their raising their children themselves. And so I concur and take my hat off to you in your endeavors.
Thank you very much.
If I may, I don't mind saying that I believe it's actually, the men and the roles that they've played. Our statistics show what they show, and despite how good we are and what morals we value, the statistics show what they show. Abandonment issues, that poverty-stricken homes because the male role model is not there, and just a lot of different issues. So I understand why society would be more sympathetic to a woman in those predicaments. So I get it. So like you said, hopefully we can make a difference.
I think they're more sympathetic, but also there need to be more change in it, because by a lot of fathers stepping up, society need to see that and kind of embrace it and kind of let people know, okay, we paying more attention to all, male and female, not just one race as female, because we're so used to, everybody's so used to female, taking care of the kids and raising them. Now it's we as men stepping up and doing what we're supposed to do. It's kind of, a lot of people don't pay attention to it, so they don't really realize, oh, he's not doing nothing. So we gotta kind of, it gotta be a word, or it gotta be spread out and let people know that there's a lot of men out there that are doing what we are doing.
That's interesting. So do you say that there needs to be a change of awareness, that there are single fathers who's
Yes.
looking for some assistance?
Yes, oh, definitely. A lot of single fathers look, I mean, it's a lot harder for us as men compared to women. You know, the society has it easy for women. They look at us as a man, so a man's supposed to do this, and a man's supposed to do that. So it's not as much pressure on women as it is a man, because we got to get out there and do it. And as a man, I'm going to get out there and do and provide for mine anyways. But at times, men need help too. Everybody need help at some point in time.
I think it's a great opportunity when I stand out in the morning and see fathers bring their sons, their daughters to the bus stop, bring their kids to the bus stop in the morning. Besides, usually normally we see a lot of mothers, and we still do see a lot of mothers. But I do take my hat off to a lot of fathers. I see they bring their sons and daughters to the bus stop in the morning, and I like to see that, because back in the day we normally didn't see that, and I see a lot of men where are stepping up to the plate, are taking responsibility for their sons and daughters, and that's what they're supposed to do. And maybe some of them haven't been taught the right way, but at least they are trying. And the most important thing, if they're trying, then the other opportunity and other ways to form is for someone to help them out that need to talk to them about some of the things they need to do and how they need to do it, because we don't know everything. So as a man, I see a lot of men that are stepping up to be the head in that community and not the tail. So that's a great picture to see every day.
Okay, great. Now, another question I wanted to ask, as far as single mothers, we know that single mothers have to, give up a lot to, I'll say, to secure themselves or to take on other roles. But as single fathers, are there some things that you may have to give up?
Definitely so. I think for me, the biggest thing was my time. I'm used to having, the me time, regardless of what that may be, whether that's just sit down and have dinner, peace and quiet, or just go out for the evening. I had to sacrifice that. It's time to do homework. It's time to, do laundry so they can have, school clothes in the morning.
Yeah, I agree. I think I don't like we was talking earlier. Mine's not really too much of a sacrifice as at one point I was doing because I wanted to, and now that I have this possibility of taking care of my kids, it's something that I have to do. So my wants is kind of pushed to the side until maybe they get older and get out my house. And then I can do my wants again. And so, but I want to make sure I raise them, make sure they can be, prepare them to go out into society and be a great man that, I was taught to be. Right. And to believe it or not, I was taught to be a great man by my mom. You know what I mean? And a lot of people fail to realize moms can teach men to be a great man.
Right.
And I always promised myself, my father was absent, when I was coming up. And when I got older, I always promised myself I would never be absent or out of my kid's life the way my father's was, because it used to hurt a lot. And that pain is something, unbearable when you're coming up. So I would, to have, my own kids feel like that, I wouldn't want that. So, you know what I'm saying? So the kind of sacrifice, my sacrifice is being happy and taking care of my kids. If missing out on this and that and the clubs and all that, if that's a sacrifice, so be it. I'll take it all day.
Definitely.
Okay. Now, as far as also being a single father, do you see that there is some kind of are you having a hard time finding a mate, or are you looking for a mate because you're a single father with children you have responsibilities for?
I don't. As far as finding a mate, it's really not a big thing. You know what I'm saying? Even though we need companionship, I think my main importance here is raising my kids, and for me to try to find somebody while I'm raising them, it's not really important. If it come along, it come along. You know what I mean? but you don't want to have this one coming in and out and it don't work, and this one coming in and out and it don't work. You don't want to set up a pattern for them to see.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because when they get older, they're going to have the same pattern, and you don't want that. So, you know, you kind of keep it away from your kids, you know what I'm saying? And probably when they at school or whatever, and then you try to finagle some way where you can see it. If something comes serious, then we'll try to introduce the children and everything and then try to come along. But it's funny because a lot of women find that attractive, you know, that men like us take care of our kids. But at the same time, by them looking at it as being attractive, we taking care of our kids, not our kids and your kids. So they say, oh, I got somebody that can take care of his kids and mine. Oh, I want him. No, you can't have that.
Right.
Yeah, well, for me, I always was the one, you know, on the dating scene and, you know, searching for love, if you will. And, you know, with my children now, this is, to me, when I say sacrifice earlier, you know, he mentioned his wants, I think, you know, we all can go after what we want. That doesn't necessarily mean that that's what we need in our lives at that time. You know, so, you know, I know what it is that floats my boat, and, you know, I'm not always able to you know, pursue those things because I have my kids. So, you know, in regards to relationships now, the biggest thing that has hit me is the fact now, just as a woman would, I have to take into consideration who I have around my children.
That's right.
And they're just going to adapt, you know, kids are just going to adapt to adults and they're going to learn their ways, and it's just, you have to be very careful now.
Yes, you could.
That's very admirable, you know, particularly, you know, about prioritizing. I think that might be the term. You reprioritize different things that you do, you know, you know, should I do this or should I do this? And I have to take my children in consideration prior to making those decisions. So I think that that's an awesome thing. That's very admirable, you know, because usually you don't hear men say, I got to wait to make sure who I bring around my children and so forth and so on. It usually is vice versa. But this is a whole new idea for me.
I think that, you know, as men, we have to get to know who we are and whose we are.
Yes.
That's what's really important.
There you go.
To know who we are before, you know, you open that door to allow anyone to come in your circle when you have your children that you are raising and that you are dealing with, because of what your standard of rules are and the way how you do things. You know, when you allow somebody else to come in, they might want to change it because they see that they can do that because of their attitude or the way they want to change things. So we have to allow ourselves as men to know who we are and whose we are, so we can, and it goes back to teaching us to become a great leader. You have to be a great follower.
Right.
So I look at, you know, everything that we do in life, it's a learning process. It's a key to the puzzle of getting taking it to another step or to another level in your life where you want to go and what you want to do. So a lot of our men, some men know who they are, some men know who they are, but some men don't know, and that's why they allow that to come in, allow that door to open up. So these men that I see here, like I said, I take my hat off to them because they have custody of their kids. They're not only raising their kids, but they have custody of their kids, and that's a great value. That's a great key to their life.
Okay. And I have another question. Are there some services that will, you know, be of assistance to single fathers that you find that is more helpful for you as being a single father? Or
Me personally, I ain't seen none yet. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I second that motion.
Most of the services that they have is built upon, you know, around the woman. You know what I mean? So I guess we, as men, go off of that and trying to take care of our kids, or, you know. But I think as me, as you know, personally, I really don't. I'm not saying that I don't need help, but me being a man, I'm just gonna make it happen. As men have that thing in them that, you know what I'm saying, I'm a man, I don't need no help. I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna make it happen regardless of what. You know, even though we may go to mom and say, Mom, you know, could you know help me out? Or you got grandma. You know, we have our forms of help, but as far as society, or as far as the government, or as far as downtown, nah, I'm sorry, it ain't down there. Not for me. And I don't think it's there for him either.
No comments.
And another question is, we were speaking earlier about how long you've been a single father, or if you've been married before, and can you discuss how that was a transition, and you know, how long did it take for you to get used to being in that situation?
Yeah, take it over. Go ahead.
Well, I had custody of my kids since '07. And the transition was kind of something I wasn't ready for, but I was ready for it because, you know, these are my kids. I love them to death. I don't want no other man taking care of my kids or raising them or nothing. So the transition was kind of, it's something that you don't really get ready for. You know what I mean? I just took it head on, you know, went right at it, you know, and as I went along and I started learning things and started doing things and, you know, paying attention to what my mom used to do and started carrying it over to what I have to do for mine. So it was a hard transition, but as the days went on and, you know, you start getting the hang of it and you see how hard it was, how hard my mom used to work to take care of me and mine and my sister. Now I'm going through it. And then I just looked at it and I thought it was kind of funny that I'm struggling now and my mom's was doing it before. Now I can appreciate my mother even more. You know what I'm saying? Because I was like, wow, she really was busting her butt raising me and my sister by herself. So now I'm in this position now. It's like I'm taking it on and it's a struggle. But the transition was pretty good. It wasn't hard, but it wasn't easy either.
Well, for me, I had my kids 100% full custody for about a year now. I've always been around. Me and their mom, we separated a few years back. There was other siblings, so I did, you know, do stepdaddy, and I did that for about close to 10 years. You know, so as far as the transition and the roles that was needed, I was kind of prepared for that. You know, I did full-time dad at one point, you know, during some surgeries and medical problems that I had, but I was always ready. I think the absence of my father prepared me for this time. But no, only thing that I could think of during that transition was, oh my, be careful for what you wish for. Be careful, you know. I went through, you know, a lot of adversity, just a lot of different things, just very traumatic for the children, myself, and still I had to maintain my integrity. Still I had to, you know, control the pride that I had within myself. So, you know, I'm here. I made it through.
Was it at one point, did you ever, when you had your kids, did you ever say, man, I just wish it was just me and my kids? Did you ever at one point, because I know at one point I did. I mean,
within the relationship?
Yes.
Yes.
I had too, and it was kind of funny because I was like, man, it was like we was going through troubles or whatever, and I was like, man, I just wish it was just me and my kids, and I just take care of my kids, and I wouldn't have to deal with this. And now I'm at that point, and it's like, wow, and like you said, be careful what you wish for, because lo and behold, the Lord will give you what you want.
But you know what, and that you know, and I'm glad you guys mentioned that. Sometimes you have to surround yourself around godly men. And you know, enough to keep you in that realm where you need to be at, and that sometimes, you know, goes back to the other question you was asking about. Is there programs? There are programs for men that need certain help, and certain men that don't need help, because you got some men that's not going to ask for help. But then, you know, you got certain men that just got pride, and I'm not going to do it because I can do it myself. I'm man enough to do it. But I just think we have to surround ourselves around godly men that can teach us the word and learn the word, because, you know, at the end of the day, you know, we got to give him praise and glory no matter what it is, for allowing you to have your children, allowing you to do what you do with your children, because if it wasn't for him, you know, him breathing on us, we wouldn't be where we at today. But I just say that you put yourself around godly men and get you some Bible study teaching classes, and take your children to them classes too, so that you can, you know, have that background. Not only have that background, they can have that background to do something great, and not only great, but just, you know, have that nourishment they need to have. Maybe when you don't have the energy, they got the energy to give it to you.
And I have a question to piggyback off what he was just suggesting to you. In regards to, did you have like someone praying for you, or family members who prayed for you, that because your hearts are both sensitive and tender, specifically towards your children, and just wondering what brought that out? Was it the absence of a father, perhaps, that saying, I'm not going to grow up the same way, or let my kids grow up the same way I grew up? At least that was one of the things that I did.
I think it's both.
Okay.
The original question was about, you know, did someone pray for you? And that's pretty much you asking, was there some type of support?
Yeah.
You know, but at the same time, I think what initiated us to be this way was maybe the absence of a father, but what allowed us to continue and allowed us to persevere was the backbone and the structure that was around us.
Okay.
I definitely consider myself, you know, a God-fearing man.
Me too.
I was part of a church when I originally got with my ex, and that's what got me through. I was a part of the church 5-6 days a week. That's how much I needed it.
All the time.
You know, so
I hit my knees. I got spasms on my knees now. Hitting my knees. Sometimes, and I gotta pray, and I pray every day. And sometimes I pray over my kids, because sometimes they need help, and at times I need help to deal with them, because, you know, kids is challenging, and they go through stages, and I might not, I ain't hit, mine's young, I ain't hit all the stages yet, I ain't get that teenage stage yet, so prayer will help me. It definitely will help me. I feel it, and I know it. I know it as a fact, because me having my kids and me taking care of my kids is a complete blessing.
And, you know, in this day and time, you know, we have to, my father's 85 years old, and he's my prayer warrior, and I say this because I learned, you know, to pray and work with him. But the most important thing is, in this time of day, we have not so much going on with the computers and with TV that teaches our kids, and they take that in because they think that's the right way. But as I talk to you gentlemen, you know, that you just have to, you know, pray with them, and on that pray with them, but keep your hands on them too, and allow yourself to stay in their way, and not only stay in their way, but stay in their face and teach them about what needs to be done as men, because it's so easy that they can leave the house just that quick, that things can change, you know, in the blink of an eye, and our kids change. I have a 16-year-old, so I know, you know, I keep him with me, you know, and you know, Bible study at least 2 days a week, let him do what he do, but the most important thing, I teach him that God is first, no matter what we do and how we do things, you know, no matter what you play basketball, you can play football, but he comes first, and when you learn to teach him that, you know, he'll remember, you know, and teach him how, you know, to read the word. You know, that's how I learned. You know, you gotta get the Bible, and you gotta read, whether you like it or not. Sometimes you just gotta, you gotta make yourself do some things that's good for you when you think it might not be good for you. So I just, you know, I tell you, you know, you gentlemen, I'm proud of you guys. I really am. And the important thing is that you just, you know, stay before him on your knees. You know, it's important you stay before him on your knees, even though you still getting rough. You know, stay on him. You stay on him, because there's room at the cross.
I get some padding, but
That was some good information that all of you shared, but we just want to and allow each of you to just say something that may encourage someone who's going through the same situation, or needs some assistance, or, you know, what we understand some of the things that you did, but what can you say that really stands out, that really can encourage someone?
For me, I think the process in actually obtaining my children was the biggest obstacle that I had to overcome. So to be going through that process a year, 2 years, you know, they tell me most men would have given up. And, you know, I didn't. And I wanted to at times. I felt as though, you know, the ridicule and just you know, statistics that we have as men, black men, it was weighing down on my back. So I think just to love your children enough to just fight to the end is the only thing that I really can recommend. Any father out there who say they love them.
I concur with that. I agree with that. Me personally, the advice I can give is, you know, you, as a man, you have to humble yourself. You know what I'm saying? You have to prepare yourself for, you know, things that may come that you may not be ready for. And when I say prepare, I mean to pray. You know, prayer can prepare you for anything. You know what I mean? And I pray all the time and make sure, you know, I say my prayers and I'm making sure my kids pray. And like Brother said, pray with them. I love my kids to death, and to just give them the love and the caring and the provisions that you can provide for them and show them what it is to be a man, to be that role model, to be that man and say, I want to be like my dad. It's a way to be cool, and, you know, to your kids without you being in them streets. And by having them around, I have my kids with me right now. And they see me doing this. They see me doing that. They see me going to work. They see me get up in the morning, iron their clothes, cook them breakfast, get them to school, get them out of school, doing their homework with them, cooking dinner while they doing homework, put them in the shower, put them to bed, and doing it the next day. And it's a routine.
That's right.
And that's what I do every day. And I don't complain about it because I love doing what I do for mine.
Amen. What I say, what we have, you know, on Tuesdays, we have a Bible study just for men over at my dad's Miracle House, which is at 427 Rollers with our Reverend Darren Young. And we have a lot of young men from different schools that actually come over to there, and they really, we teach them about the Word. And I invite you to bring you and your children over there too, because sometimes when men got to get together and read the Word and study the Word, and we got to encourage each other and lift each other up. So I challenge men that's out there today that if you really want to come to Bible study and be with some real men, to do real things in the community, that lay our lives on the line for the children and the young ladies out there that are doing right or wrong. You know, we out there. I just say, you know, come on Bible study at 6 o'clock on Tuesdays at 427 Rollers, Man Dad's Miracle House. And the most important thing, you know, you never leave there, you never leave the same. When you walk in, you're one way, and when you leave out, you're a miracle. So I challenge you men to bring your sons or your daughters, because we need to break bread together. I am my brother's keeper, so we need to break bread together.
Amen.
Okay, well, we're going to wrap up the show because that will be our time for today. We do thank you for watching The Advocator, and we're just going to let Pastor Barnes just give a shout out of where men can come and get some advice as far as Sunday service and Bible class.
Well, certainly. You can come to Love Alive Full Gospel Baptist Church, where love is alive, the Spirit resides, and God is glorified. That's at 161 Germain Street off of Amherst near Grant Street. So come on out and be blessed.
All right. Well, we end the show today, and we hope that we could be of assistance to you. Thank you, and watch again.